In China, this woman is using a public water fountain as a toilet. At night, this woman collects filthy fountain water to boil your street food in. This isn't a rare phenomenon. These street vendors collect diseased water from public waterfalls and ponds to prepare your delicious tourist food in. In China, gutter oil and spit oil is paired with fecal water to create that special flavor that tourists can enjoy. It's dangerous eating food that you personally haven't prepared in China. And even if you do personally prepare it, the ingredients you buy from a wet market or even a well-known supermarket are never guaranteed to be real or safe. Here we see people scavenging floodwater food items and then hosing them off, ready to sell to you at your local convenience store. I've got a lot to show you, but first I want to talk to you about Ground News. Ground News is a website and app that gathers articles from over 50,000 news sources around the world and can help you read between the lines of media bias and break free from algorithms, filter bubbles, and echo chambers. Here's a great example. Here's an article about how the EU slaps Chinese electric cars with tariffs, finally. But if I take a look at the news coverage, of which there are 86 news sources, you can see the majority of the reporting is coming from the left. Not only just the left, but Chinese state media like China Daily, the Global Times, other state medias like the BBC and Al Jazeera, etc. too. Very interesting, and it makes sense since the Chinese government is trying to generate outrage. They don't want these tariffs. We can see the center reporting, and the right, strangely, is not reporting on this very much. And if I look at the bias comparison, it's kind of interesting. You can see that the left seems to be addressing the potential economic impact on both EU customers and Chinese EV manufacturers. The center is looking at broader geopolitical implications, and the right is covering Chinese retaliation and tariff percentages. I'm sure you're starting to see how useful this is to getting a rounded idea of what's going on. I've personally found it incredibly invaluable, and I hope you'll join me in supporting an independent news platform trying to make a positive difference and restore transparency and trust in the news. Go to ground.news/SerpentZA to see through the media bias and better understand the world. Subscribe through my link for 40% off unlimited access this month. Link is in the description below. And now back to the show. So gutter oil hasn't slowed down even for a second in China. Here I just grabbed some clips from the past week to show you. These are some chefs in Sichuan grabbing some spit oil from the grease traps, ready to present to the next unknowing customer at their fancy hot pot restaurant. Again, it's not just street vendors you need to be wary of. Proper big and high-end restaurants also put your health at risk by reusing chili spit oil and frying your food in gutter oil. Quick catch up for those of you who haven't seen my videos on the subject, but spit oil is the chili oil that's commonly used in spicy hot pot dishes. People dip their food and chopsticks into the broth and gobble over it. The restaurants either scrape off the floating spit oil and directly serve it to new customers, or they throw it out, only for enterprising spit oil collectors to fish it out of the trash and sell it back to the restaurant or other hot pot restaurants in the area. Gutter oil is when people literally scoop floating oil out of the sewers, gutters, and grease traps, filter it, and then sell it at a discount rate to restaurants. All very nasty stuff, but now you have to worry about fecal water too. See, water in China is unsafe. I can't express this enough. You cannot drink the tap water in China. There isn't one part of the country where it's safe to drink the tap water, or well water for that matter. Over 90% of groundwater in China is contaminated. Everyone has to drink bottled water. But even if you do drink bottled water, beware. I filmed this myself, where people were filling up water cooler bottles with contaminated well water. I've seen people in vans using fire hydrants to fill up these bottles, and then they go and sell them to unsuspecting customers. You have to realize that when deception, cheating, and lying has become so endemic that it's simply common knowledge that you're going to probably have your health sabotaged randomly by a restaurant or street food vendor, that you have a problem. China's society is riddled with cheats, charlatans, con men, and those willing to sacrifice their fellow citizens' health and safety for a quick buck. And although the spotlight has been shone on this problem countless times, sometimes brighter than others, such as the infant formula scandal that led to children dying, or the fake and expired vaccine scandal that shook the nation, the government simply is incapable of stopping or even slowing down this phenomenon. This phenomenon of widespread cheating at the expense of people's health. The government is incapable of doing so because the government itself scams people and destroys the health of its citizens by not caring at all about what happens to them. For instance, dropping toxic rockets on villages. This was on purpose because they can't be bothered to work out safe launch sites and trajectories. Testing deadly rockets next to urban areas filled with people. Forcefully demolishing people's homes, accepting bribes in order to turn a blind eye to factory runoff, allowing corruption to flourish in the construction industry, leading to building collapses, sinkholes, swallowing roads, and fake fire extinguishing equipment guaranteeing the death of anyone caught in a building fire. So yes, being tricked into eating food prepared in fecal water and gutter oil is just a taste of how the Communist Party has ruined Chinese society. Anyone who's visited China, anyone who lives in China, has eaten gutter oil. In other words, you've eaten oil that was floating around with turds and urine and dead animals and who knows what else. And of course, you've drank water that is completely unsafe for you. You cannot escape this. Even if you're buying high-end bottled water, the fake stuff gets in there. They get busted all the time. So beware. Take precautions if you're in China. And unlike fecal water, stay awesome.